What's up, DCS Crew? It's Carlos back at it again. Now, I'm here with a review on a Kansept knife that I saw at Blade Show 2021. I was able to go ahead and take one home with me after my sit down. Well, not really sit down, but after my meetup with their rep, Ashton. Really nice guy that I got to talk to over the weekend at the pit and eventually at the booth. So this one in particular is one that caught my eye, and I decided to take it home from Blade Show because of the fact that it very closely emulates, but not quite, another knife that I have reviewed in the past from a different company. In fact, it's a conical design. So without any further ado, I do want to go ahead and introduce you to the Foosa. Now, I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly. It kind of reminds me of that Bad Boys thing, you know, Woosa.
Woosa.
I don't know what the you're talking about.
Yes, you do know what the I'm talking about.
So, that being said, this is a Rolf Helbig design, 3-inch blade, 154 cm stonewashed steel, and interesting blade profile, micarta handles, and no lock. Interestingly enough. So let's go ahead and get with this particular review of the Foosa from Kansept Knives. All right, guys, welcome back. Now, let's get crack-a-lacking on the Foosa. Now, like I mentioned before, 3-inch blade. I want to say 4-inch handle, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the specs for this particular knife over here if I can get it. And that way it can give you a little bit more of an idea of what this knife is all about. Now, the interesting thing about this particular knife is that it does not have a lock. So you gotta you gotta understand, it's much like the Monterey Bay Knives EWC from Ray Laconico, but the blade shape is different, the handle materials are different, and obviously the blade steel is different. So there's enough difference, I guess you can say, and with Chinese copyrights, don't give a fuck issues, you know, they kind of made it their own and came up with this. Now, the guy that made this, his name, again, is Rolf Helbig. This particular model is model number T2020T2. Huh, interesting. Now, the blade itself, what kind of throws me off on this one is that they could have done kind of like a drop point. They could have done like a tanto, but they're like, screw it, let's do both. That seems to be the new thing now, kind of doing hybrids of different blades. This is like a hybrid tanto slash, you know, drop point type of thing, or clip point, whatever you choose. And I gotta say, you know, from the time that Kansept first started, you know, churning out knives and producing them, up until now, they've done a really good job since then. This particular knife, I gotta admit, is an excellent knife for the office for, I mean, let's say maybe 50, 60 bucks, I wanna say. This is part of their budget line because their budget line does contain 154 cm, and I like the fact that companies like Kansept and some others are doing steels other than D2. People have been like, they've been literally having D2 stuffed into their freaking face and down their freaking throats, and the truth is 154 cm is a tried and true steel. You know, it's an American steel. Hell, Benchmade was using it in their Griptilians for God knows how long, you know, after using 440C and before using S30V. So it is a viable steel. It's going to give you a little bit more cutting power and edge retention than VG10 at the cost or loss, if, you know, whatever you choose, of corrosion resistance. Now, that doesn't mean it's corrosive like D2 or a carbon steel. This is a stainless steel, but you're not going to get the stainless properties of VG10. You will get better cutting than VG10, especially if you put a nice edge on this. But, you know, that's another story. Now, that's getting into, you know, steel metallurgy, that sort of thing. Go ahead and check. I think it's called Knife Nerds or Steel Nerds or something. I don't know. But they do have a mailing list that talks about different steels. You'd be able to go ahead and learn a little bit more about 154 cm there. Now, let's go ahead and get to the size comparison. Bring out a couple of familiars and some you may or may not know about. First and foremost, let's go ahead and bring out the SOG Terminus XR, BDZ1 steel. They're about the same size. And again, this is going to fit in that, you know, category of knives that are about 4 inches in handle length, about 3 inches or 3 inches flat in blade length. All right. There we go. That's the Spyderco UK pen knife. This is the Kaiser Rogue, one of my favorite user knives, S35 again steel with titanium handles from Dirk Pinkerton. Kershaw's Atmos. It's a Sienkiewicz design, probably the cheapest Sienkiewicz you'll be able to say that you got. Going a little smaller with the Little Main Street, again from Dirk Pinkerton. We have the Kaiser Clutch. This is an interesting design. Haven't really talked about that one much, but I freaking love it. It's probably the best steak knife I have, and I can get into that in its own video. And last but not least, we'll talk about Ethan Becker's knife from Becker Knife and Tool and K-Bar. This is the BK40. It's a little bit bigger, obviously, on both the scale and the blade end. So, my thoughts on this knife. Well, the truth is, for me, generally something like this, you know, being a non-locking design, the 4 inches with the 3-inch handle, that sort of thing, you know, nice skinny-ish frame. This would usually be reserved for something along the lines of a good office knife. And I still kind of hold it to that regard. And honestly, what I may actually do is take this green micarta, which ends up patinaing anyways with anything you put on. I may just dye it black and use it as an office knife, because this is beautiful as far as design elements go, and I think it would work extremely well in an office environment or even light EDC because of the fact that it doesn't have that lock. And as you can see, it's very easy to open up, put it back, open up, put it back. Super fidget friendly, and that's a huge plus for people who love to take out their knives and play with it. Obviously, there are ball bearings in there, but there is no lock. It's more like kind of like a friction, you know, initially, but after that, it is not it's not a double detent slip joint. So just be very careful, because once you hit that back down, it closes, and yeah, guillotine, my friend. So if I had to kind of give a couple of gripes about this, I'm not the biggest fan of the blade shape. I know that's like the new it thing. I guess people are getting tired of the same olds, but the truth is, and I may actually experiment with this, I may actually grind that down to just more of a blade shape, to where this area right here, which is more of a kind of like a tanto-ish hybrid style, is more just kind of like a sweeping belly. I'll use my KME and just kind of grind that out and just make something a little bit more usable for me. For other people, you may find it, you know, something that you might like, and that's perfectly fine. For me, it isn't, but I have the means to be able to do it. I have my KME and I have my stones. I mean, I can go from 50 grit all the way to, you know, 1,000 plus, and then just finish it on my strops and be good. The titanium pocket clip, which I'm pretty sure is titanium, it is pretty springy. I don't understand what the holes are here for, but you know, it is what it is. It is not tapped for left hand carry, which is a bummer for my lefties. And with that being said, let me go ahead and just show the front, the clip side, the rear, the show side, and back. This is what it's going to look like. Obviously, there's no lockup. And there you go. So if I had to kind of give my gripes on this, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of the holes in the clip, although it's perfectly fine. You know, it is what it is. And then the blade shape itself doesn't really call me that much, but I can always fix that, like I said, or I can always send it to somebody who'll go ahead and do me the honor of fixing that. Now let's see how it looks in the pocket, and then I will give you my final thoughts. So putting it into the pocket, like I said, it's not a very big knife, and believe it or not, it's actually pretty lightweight. Let me go ahead and adjust it here, because this pocket, what the heck is it doing here? Oh, that's why. Okay. All right, there we go. It was not aligned correctly, and it was just catching on the fact that the pocket had folded inside. So that's how it's going to look while it's inside the pocket. It's actually not very bad. Now that I look at it, looks pretty good. Okay. So I've kind of let the cat out of the bag by showing this before I do my Blade Show haul. I do have quite a few things that I picked up off of Blade Show 2021. Stay tuned for that video. I did catch a few nice ones. I got my first Hinderer. I gotta let that bombshell out of there. I'm not gonna say which ones the other ones are, but I also am gonna do a tag video with River's Edge Country. I left a comment on their tag video and they told me to go ahead and do one for them as well. So I'm gonna do that and tag a few people as well. So go ahead, if you're not a subscriber, hit that sub button and hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. That way, once my upload is active, it'll go ahead and send you an email and you'll be able to go ahead and check my future videos. So final thoughts on this. If you like the blade shape and if you can go ahead and deal with this, this is essentially a more budget version of the MBK EWC. That's Monterey Bay Knives EWC. I loved that knife. I thought that was an awesome everyday carry office knife. So if you're an office person like moi, well, not right now because of the pandemic and everything, but if once you go back into the office, or if you're back in the office, this would be an excellent knife for everyday use and even on casual Fridays, because this is that micarta. It'll take that patina very nicely in your jeans, but I probably won't do that. I'll probably just go ahead and change that to black or maybe even a navy blue, make it look kind of snazzy. Maybe talk to BJ Hill about heat anodizing, the materials that are on here. Maybe do a little something cool with that. But that's just my thing. So again, if you can get over the blade shape, you can get over the clip. This thing is money in the bank, my friend. You are not going to be stressed out getting something like this, like those guys from Bad Boys, wooooo, wooooo, or in this case, Foosa. Huge shout out to Kansept Knives for allowing Rolf Helbig to be able to go ahead and produce this through them. I like the fact that Kim Ning is allowing a lot of really relatively unknown to the US market designers to be able to go ahead and produce what seems to be some pretty fire stuff and good materials. The micarta on this is actually pretty good. The ergos feel pretty good, especially since they're pretty neutral. It allows you to be able to use this, pretty well. And it allows you to be able to go ahead and get as much of the handle as possible instead of those knives where it's kind of cut out here and you can only hold it a few a couple of ways. So that's my 2 cents about it. Hopefully you learned something out of it. If you're interested in any more information, go ahead and shoot me a message at dailycarrysolutions@gmail.com or visit my website dailycarrysolutions.com. Drop me a message there or on IG at Daily Carry Solutions. That being said, this is the end of the video, so I will catch you guys next time. Thank you for taking a moment to go ahead and check out this video on the Foosa. I'll see you next time. Peace.